Since everything that we do in the real world isn't going to be precise, it's not going to be perfect, everything is therefore going to be an estimate. Everything's an estimation. Depending on how much time we put into it, the tools that we have, the money that we have available, what we need and everything will depend on whether we consider our final answer kind of what is usually called an estimate. It's close, but it's not really very precise. Or whether we'll call it the correct answer. But again, in reality, it doesn't mean that it's 100% accurate. So here's an example. If I'm building a house and I need a piece of wood that's 18 inches long, if I cut a piece and it's 20 inches long, it's too big and it doesn't work. So I cut it again and it's 12 inches long now. Well, it doesn't work either. It's too small. But keep in mind that that piece of wood doesn't actually have to be exactly 18 inches. Not to the billionth of an inch, not to the, exactly 12 inches. There is some wiggle room. The question is, how much wiggle room do I have? What's the point where a value is considered good enough or correct enough, since everything technically is in estimation? So we really have to come down to what's the application? What are we looking for? So let's say that you're going to build a simple truss for an introductory engineering course made out of balsa wood or something. How accurate do your measurements have to be? And I'd say you can probably be pretty good to being about a millimeter worth of accuracy. It's not perfect, but it'll probably work okay. If you're building a precision instrument that might be measuring a very, very small thing, or it might be going into space, or it's for some multi-billion-dollar something, they'll want it probably more accurate, something maybe on the micrometer or the micron scale. So estimation is used constantly in our lives. Another example here is if I throw a ball at you, you're going to first have to figure out, is it dangerous? Is it catchable? Is it going to be heavy? Do I need to brace myself when it comes here? Where is it going to land? When's it going to get to me? All those things I need to figure it out, and I need to figure it out relatively quickly. And we tend to do that pretty well. So here are some types of estimation that are going to be important for us, not just in this class, but really throughout your career, and just in life, not even in your career. One is your quick, your gut instinct stuff. 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds max, but quick. Come up with something, just like if somebody were to throw something at you, you can have to figure some stuff out really, really quick. It doesn't mean you're going to be super accurate, but what it means is it's going to give you a ballpark of what we are working with. The next type of estimation is going to be take about 30 seconds, maybe a minute max, where we're going to get some rough values and we're going to build a simple model. I'm not going to have time to look anything up. I'm not going to have time to go grab a calculator or to look up how to do some math or anything like that. I'm going to have to pick some rough values, maybe round them and play with them in my head a little bit and say, the numbers are going to be around 1 million. To be honest, if it's off by a factor of 10, which means if it's 10 times less or 10 times more, for something like a very quick estimation, that's really still not that bad. The last thing we want to do, and it's still an estimate because nothing's perfect, is to get some measured values to look up maybe some other models. You can do this still pretty quickly. Use the same model maybe that you used for this rough one here, but just spend a little bit more time looking up some values. Things don't have to be perfect. You'll have time to get a calculator out, be able to do that. So about 3 minutes, maybe longer depending on accuracy. This could take years if you wanted it to be really, really accurate. It's still not going to be perfect. You can look up values. You might have to go learn more math or something like that. So why do we estimate? So if I give you a question, instead of just starting to solve it right away, look at it and say, let me try to figure out what I think the answer would be. So if I said, how much money for gas do you think you need to drive across the country? Quick, gut instinct. What do you say? $500. Is it accurate? Probably not. It might be 1,000. It might be 300. I don't know. But I gave you a number. So we did that really quick. We just kind of want to get a ballpark. We wanted to see what we were looking at. So then what I can do is I can start taking some information, and I can look up information on the specific car. I can look up whether I'm going to be doing highway driving, freeway driving, what the speed limits are going to be, whether it's going to be mountains, how windy it's going to be. Are you going to be taking pit stops? Are you going to be going to look at landmarks? Are you going to be driving around looking for restaurants? What are you going to really need to do? And once you do that, and that could take anywhere from a couple minutes if you just keep a couple of these things in there, or it could take you days if you really wanted to get really specific. And after you're done, let's say you get a value of $670. How do I know that that's accurate? Well, you technically you don't, but what you can do is you can compare it to what you originally thought it would be. I originally thought it'd be around 500. 670, it's not necessarily super close to that, but it's within a ballpark, and it shows, hey, I thought that it'd be around 500. After doing all this math and folding things together and mixing things up, a number spit out, and it was 670. That's actually pretty close. I must have done something right. So it's a way to check yourself. If at the end you would have gotten an answer of like $32 or $17,000, you might say, that's really far off from my estimate. I probably need to go back and figure stuff out. I need to work through things. So estimating is good. It gives you an idea of what's happening. You can use it to check your work. And depending on the time that you have and the options that you have, sometimes an estimate's good enough. Sometimes a 30-second estimate is good enough. Sometimes you're going to do 5 minutes. Sometimes you're going to need to spend days, weeks, or hopefully not, but there are some times, depending on what you're doing with your life, you might have to spend years on working on some of these things.